Alright, so this is lesson 1, redone. Here we go. ActionScript 3 in Flash, and that'll give you your stage. So this is your workspace. Your tools, I've unsnapped them from the side over here, and I've brought them over here. And my layers are down here. If you want to add a second layer, you click the small button down here. New layer. I'm going to do a red ball first. Label my layer, and I'm going to drag out some frames. So I'm going to go up to about 100. Hold Shift, go to the beginning. I'm still holding Shift. Select both of the layers, and right-click, Insert Frames to my timeline. Now I can scrub through my timeline, and there's nothing animated yet. So if I zoom in here, I'm going to draw my first thing on this white dot on frame 1 right here, and I'm going to set my color to red, and I don't want any outline on my drawing, so I'll make sure the stroke color is set to nothing. Okay, so stroke is symbolized by the pencil, and I have no color, and the fill, which is symbolized by the little paint bucket, is set to red. You can do whatever color you want. And I'm going to change it to the oval tool by clicking and holding the rectangle tool. You can change the tool this way, that way. And I'll draw my ball. And I'll use the black arrow or selection tool and drag it off frame or off stage. And every second frame, I'm going to right click, insert keyframe, and then drag my animation. I'm going to turn on the onion skins, which is at the bottom, which allows me to see where I left off in each frame. So if you click that, it's onion skin, and it shows you right here where you left off. So every second frame, I right-click, insert keyframe, and drag my animation. Right-click, insert keyframe, and drag my animation. Right-click, insert keyframe right here, and I drag my animation. If you want to see more onion skins, you can drag this little dot backwards and it will show you how all the way through what you've done so far. I usually want to go only a couple frames behind, so I'll just move that there. Okay, every second frame, right click, insert keyframe, and drag your item. So that's what my animation is so far. If I'm doing a second item, I would do it in the other layer, blue square. Okay, and I would draw it on this dot on this layer. Change my tool to the rectangle tool, change the color. And I'll draw it on this side and use my move tool and drag it off frame. And the same thing, right click, insert a keyframe and drag my item slightly, right click, insert my keyframe and drag my item slightly. Anything that you draw in Flash, you want to do in a separate layer. You don't want to animate two things in the same layer at this point. Just set more than one layer. Okay, so that gives you an idea of introduction of how to move stuff. Let's do one more, and we'll do symbol and a filter and a motion tween. Right? So then I insert a new layer. I'll call this tween, and it's here. So again, I'm going to select that first blank keyframe. It's white. You can see it's white, not black like these two, because there's nothing drawn in there at this point. And I'm going to draw another shape and change the color, and I'll do green. And when I draw my shape, instantly it turns to a black dot because there's now something drawn in that frame. Scrub through, nothing's happening with the green thing. Selection tool, convert this to a symbol. Alright, make sure it is a movie clip, and I'll call this green so I know which one is which. And I'll hit OK. I'm going to put a filter on now, which is way down at the bottom, and I'm going to put a bevel filter on to make it look like it's liquid. And there's all these settings here. I'll go high quality, and inner is fine. I could go outer. You can play around with these yourself. And then there's my symbol. I'm also going to change my stage to a black color, just so things show up a little better. Or maybe even a gray color. There. There. Okay. So I'm going to go start my green thing off screen, and I'm going to go to the very end of my animation. I'm going to put in another keyframe in that green square layer, or in the tween layer. Insert keyframe. I will then position where I want this to end off screen. So when I scrub through, it jumps side to side. So anywhere on the layer, on the tween layer, anywhere between those two dots, okay, I've got a dot at the end on 100 and a dot at the 0 right there. I'll right click anywhere and go create classic tween, classic. And if you scrub through the timeline and turn your onion skins off, you can see that the animation's been done for you. Test out your movie, Command Return on your keyboard, Command Return, and this is what I've animated so far. The blue and the red thing are stuck because I haven't gone and finished animating them yet. If I wanted to change the path of where my green rectangle goes, anywhere along the tween I can right click and insert another keyframe, and then I can change the position on that keyframe, on this black dot right here. And now when I scrub through, the square goes up, the square comes back down. Just like that, right? Test the movie. So now it goes up, and it goes down. I need to continue on doing this, like doing my frame by frame with the red circle and the blue rectangle, but this is just a good introductory. Last thing, I'm going to have something flash, so perhaps I'll do that with the blue square. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the blue square and I do a couple more keyframes and get my blue square onto the stage here, animated in like it's moving in from the top right corner. And I'll move it in. Okay. Insert keyframe and move it one more time. Alright, so let's scrub through. So now I want the blue square to blink. So I'm going to copy that. So that's a right click. I believe I can just go copy. And then I can right click here and go insert blank keyframe. It shuts off that symbol. And then I go over and I go insert keyframe, and then I have to go up to edit, paste in place. Not in the center, in place. And then I go 2 over and I go blank keyframe, shut it off, and I go over by 2, insert keyframe, like that, and I paste it in place. And I turn it back on. So now I've got a flicker, just like that. And if you look, the white one means that you've shut off that symbol for those 2 frames, 1 frame, 2 frame. The black frame means I've put it back for 2 frames, 1, 2. The white frame is shut off for 2, and then the black frame, the black dot, sorry, is back on. Alright, so that's your introduction to Flash.